What if there was like a chemical just naturally in your body that could do more than just make you feel good?
Yeah.
Something that could actually melt away stress, but also sharpen your social radar, maybe even ease physical pain. And what if you could actually trigger it yourself, just with simple everyday stuff?
Well, today we are diving deep into oxytocin. It often gets simplified, called the love hormone, right?
Yeah.
But our deep dive into the sources we looked at, it shows it's way more complex. It's this whole neurochemical cascade with some pretty profound strategic implications. You're actually about to uncover some insights and practical mechanisms that honestly most people just overlook. It could give you a real advantage in connection, resilience, just overall well-being.
Yeah, because we're all dealing with a world that throws a lot at us, aren't we? I mean, the everyday chaos, traffic, endless emails, maybe just the pressure of social situations. So whether you're trying to, say, perform better under pressure or build stronger connections at work or maybe just find a bit more calm, understanding this one chemical could really be a game changer. Our mission today really is to unpack these sources and give you a kind of strategic blueprint for optimizing your own internal bonding system, moving beyond just feeling good to actively, shaping your reality. Okay, let's really get into this then. The common idea is oxytocin equals cuddle chemical. Makes you feel warm, fuzzy after a hug, that kind of thing. But these sources, they paint a much richer picture, more strategic even. What are some of these surprising effects, the ones that go way beyond just, well, cuddling?
Yeah, that's a great starting point. A really critical takeaway from the sources is that oxytocin isn't just a hormone floating around. It's actually a versatile neuropeptide. It functions both as a hormone in your bloodstream and as a neurotransmitter, directly influencing your brain activity.
Oh, interesting. So it's got a dual role.
Exactly. And that dual role is crucial because it means its release gets triggered by this complex mix of sensory stuff, social pathways. It's incredibly responsive to our environment, our interactions, and its functions. They are astonishingly diverse. They impact areas we just don't usually connect to bonding.
Okay, that dual function thing,
Yeah.
it implies a much wider reach than I thought.
Yeah.
So beyond the warm fuzzies, what are these other functions? The ones that are so, as you said, strategically significant.
Right. So the sources really highlight three key areas where oxytocin shines, areas that often get missed. First, it's a powerful stress buffer, like really sophisticated. It directly counteracts cortisol. That's our main stress hormone.
Cortisol, yeah, the bad guy.
Kind of. And higher oxytocin levels, especially if you trigger them strategically, they correlate directly with reduced stress reactivity. This isn't just, feeling comforted. It's like a physiological shield. It actively helps your body manage and recover from stress much more effectively, right down at the cellular level.
A physiological stress shield.
Huh.
I like that. That's a powerful idea. I can almost picture that feeling, that genuine calm you get after a really supportive chat or just a real moment of connection. But, okay, for someone listening who might be a bit skeptical, thinking, is this just a nice feeling, maybe placebo? How do the sources differentiate this? Is it actually measurable physiologically?
That's a really important distinction. And yes, the research is clear. These are measurable physiological responses. Oxytocin literally reduces activity in the amygdala, that's the brain's fear center.
Okay.
And it decreases sympathetic nervous activation, our fight or flight response. So no, it's not just feeling good. It's a tangible, quantifiable shift in your body's stress response system.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's stress. What else?
Second big thing, oxytocin significantly enhances social cognition. The sources indicate it actually increases your accuracy in reading subtle facial emotions.
Several ones, okay.
Yeah, the micro expressions, the quick flashes, and get this, it improves trust recognition by up to 40%.
Wow, 40%. That's huge.
It is, and this isn't just about liking people more. It's about making you a more astute social interpreter, helping you decode those nuanced cues, build more authentic, effective connections, especially in tricky social settings.
40% boost in trust recognition. Okay, what does that actually mean for someone trying to, say, build a high-performing team? Or a leader who needs to create that feeling of psychological safety? Are there specific cues we should be, paying more attention to, knowing oxytocin sharpens our reading?
It really changes how you approach those situations. For a leader, it means a better ability to tell genuine engagement from just going through the motions, or spotting underlying anxiety in team members, maybe. The cues themselves aren't necessarily new, but your brain's processing of them gets more efficient, more accurate.
I see.
You might start noticing those subtle micro-expressions, little shifts in posture, slight changes in vocal tone that you might have missed before, and that allows you to respond with more empathy, more precision.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Stress buffer, social interpreter. What's the third one? You said it was maybe the most surprising.
It is pretty surprising. Pain modulation. Oxytocin acts as a natural analgesic, a painkiller.
Really? Like actual physical pain?
Yes. And what's particularly fascinating from the research is that active storytelling, specifically, can significantly increase oxytocin release while simultaneously reducing reported pain levels.
Wait, storytelling reduces pain. That kind of challenges how we usually think about managing discomfort, doesn't it?
It does.
It suggests this really deep link between our minds, our connections, and our actual physical experience. So if someone's dealing with, I don't know, chronic discomfort or maybe just acute stress, could they actually use this? Integrate storytelling.
Absolutely. The act of really engaging with a compelling narrative, whether you're the one telling the story or you're deeply listening, it activates these neural pathways tied to empathy and social connection. And that activation, in turn, triggers oxytocin release. It's essentially a non-drug pathway to managing pain and regulating emotions, a really powerful complementary approach.
Okay, wow. Stress shield, social decoder, pain modulator.
Yeah.
Oxytocin is clearly this incredible internal multi-tool. So the massive question then is, how do we actually get more of it? How do we activate it? Your sources mention some surprisingly simple but powerful strategic ways to do this, both physical and psychological stuff that's like right there for us to use.
Exactly. This is where we move from just understanding what it does to how you can actively harness it. And yeah, the sources detail both physical touch protocols and psychological stimulation methods that strategically encourage oxytocin release, often with pretty remarkable speed and a lasting effect too.
Okay, but let's start with the physical side. That seems maybe the most straightforward. What kind of touch works? How precise does it need to be?
Well, the research is actually quite specific, but also beautifully simple. Take eye contact. Prolonged eye contact, specifically looking at someone for 4 seconds or more, that directly triggers oxytocin release.
4 seconds. That's it.
4 seconds or more. And it does something else amazing. It actually creates neural synchronization between the two people.
Neural synchronization, what does that mean?
It means your brain waves literally start to align. It fosters this deeper sense of connection, of understanding. So it's not just a quick, polite glance. It's an intentional, sustained connection that builds rapport right down at the neurological level.
Okay, 4 seconds of eye contact. That's such a simple, actionable thing. We could all use that immediately, maybe even with a colleague during a meeting, to build trust. What else physical?
Then there's affectionate touch. Even just 15 minutes of massage can elevate oxytocin levels for hours.
15 minutes for hours. Nice return on investment.
Right. And the intensity and duration of the touch seem to correlate with how long the effect lasts. So a deeper, more sustained connection can have a longer lasting benefit.
15 minutes of massage. That's definitely something many people could fit into a self-care routine. Are there other physical ways? Maybe things you could do in a group?
Absolutely. Synchronized activities are also incredibly powerful boosters. Think about that feeling you get when you're moving in rhythm with other people.
Yeah, like dancing or something.
Exactly. Group singing, dancing, even exercising together. This kind of collective experience amplifies oxytocin because it combines the physical stimulation with a really deep sense of social connection, of belonging. It's that same kind of rush, that shared energy, whether you're talking about, I don't know, the drumming and dancing at a community festival somewhere in India, or the high fives and shared effort after a tough group fitness class in LA. The shared energy, the sense of being part of something together, that's a key driver.
That makes total sense. That feeling of unity when you're all moving or creating something together.
Yeah.
It's powerful. But what about, beyond direct physical contact, can we stimulate oxytocin just psychologically?
Ah, yes. This is a critical point, and the answer is a definite yes. Mindfulness meditation, for example. Research shows it significantly increases oxytocin.
How does that work?
It happens mainly through activating the parasympathetic nervous system, that's your body's built-in rest and digest mode. It's about calming your internal state, basically creating the perfect conditions for oxytocin to flow.
Okay, meditation. What else?
Emotional sharing. This is another really key mechanism. Actually telling someone about your meaningful experiences, opening up a bit, sharing deeper thoughts. That increases oxytocin much more significantly than just sharing factual surface level information.
Oh, that's a huge distinction. So it's not just the polite chit-chat, it's sharing something that actually holds some weight for you.
Precisely. That kind of intentional vulnerability, it builds a much deeper connection for both people involved. It almost creates this reciprocal release,
Yeah, I can see that. Anything else on the psychological side?
One more big one, acts of kindness.
Giving behaviors, whether it's a thoughtful gesture, offering someone help, or even just expressing genuine appreciation, they trigger oxytocin release. And here's the cool part. It happens not just in the person receiving the kindness, but demonstrably in the giver, too.
Really? So helping someone else gives you an oxytocin hit.
Exactly. It's a true biological win-win. It creates this positive feedback loop for everyone involved. It's almost like a built-in biological incentive for altruism.
Wow. Okay, so these aren't like huge, complicated rituals. These are things we can actually do every day. A meaningful look, sharing a real story, helping someone out.
Yeah.
You don't need a prescription, just awareness and
Super.
intention, understanding the levers you can pull.
That's exactly it. It's about understanding the system.
Okay, this next insight really caught my eye. The idea of literally bathing yourself in oxytocin.
Yeah.
What did the research find about creating the optimal conditions for release like that? And how could this chemical actually potentially train our brains for more empathy and connection over time?
Right, this concept, let's call it the bathing effect, drawing from the sources. It refers to research showing that warm water immersion, when combined with deep relaxation, creates these uniquely optimal conditions for oxytocin to be released. And it's not just about feeling cozy. There's a specific, multi-layered physiological mechanism happening.
Okay, so the bathing effect isn't just comfort. There's actual science optimizing the release. Can you break down those mechanisms a bit more?
Sure. Think of it like setting the perfect internal stage for oxytocin to perform. The warm water causes vasodilation, basically, your blood vessels widen. That dramatically improves circulation, getting blood flowing better everywhere, including your brain.
Okay, better blood flow.
Then that, combined with the relaxation, simultaneously activates your parasympathetic nervous system. Remember, the rest and digest mode, and crucially, it lowers stress hormones like cortisol. So it's like dimming the house lights and silencing all the background noise so oxytocin can really take center stage and dominate your internal chemical environment. It's a holistic preparation, really.
Wow, that's incredible, like creating the perfect internal conditions for calm and connection. But you also mentioned it can actually train the brain, this upward spiral idea. How does that work?
This is where we get into the really advanced insight about oxytocin's power. It works through these powerful positive feedback loops. So higher oxytocin levels don't just feel good right now, they actually increase your brain's sensitivity to social cues.
So you become better at noticing things.
Exactly. You become more tuned, more receptive to those subtle cues like a slight change in facial expression, a genuine smile, an empathetic gesture from someone else. And when you pick up on those positive cues more easily, guess what? That, in turn, triggers even more oxytocin release.
Yeah, so it feeds itself.
Precisely. It creates these upward spirals of social connection and empathy. It's a self-reinforcing system that essentially trains your brain over time to be more socially intelligent and more connected.
So what this upward spiral really means for us, for the listener, is it's not just about getting a temporary boost. We're actively kind of remodeling our neural pathways, building a stronger, more resilient, more empathetic social muscle that gets better the more we use it.
That's a perfect analogy. It builds capacity over time. It's truly a transformative insight for long-term well-being and connection. The more you engage in these oxytocin-boosting behaviors, the more capable your system becomes.
That's really powerful.
Absolutely. And if we connect all this back to the bigger picture, just knowing about these mechanisms empowers you, doesn't it? It lets you be a conscious architect of your own social and emotional state. It's about being proactive with self-care, being strategic and building relationships, and actively creating an internal environment where you can really flourish instead of just reacting to whatever life throws at you. You genuinely have a direct hand in shaping your internal chemistry and, by extension, your experience of reality.
And here's that little hidden bonus, the Easter egg from the sources we looked at. It ties things together so elegantly. The brilliance of acts of kindness. It's not just some nice idea. It's a seriously effective biological mechanism. That single kind gesture doesn't just benefit the receiver.
Right. The giver gets that direct hit, too.
You, the giver, get that direct hit of beneficial oxytocin. It's like this built-in biological reward for altruism, making sure empathy and connection pay off in your own system. And linking back to that surprising detail about storytelling reducing pain, it's just another profound example of how interconnected everything is. Our social lives, our mental state, even our physical feelings.
It really underscores the holistic nature of our well-being.
Okay, so let's quickly bring it all home. We dove deep into oxytocin today. We found out it's way more than the cuddle chemical. It's a potent stress buffer.
A sharp social cognition enhancer.
And even a natural pain modulator, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Then we unpacked specific strategic triggers Physical things like a sustained gaze, synchronized movement.
And psychological ones like meaningful sharing and, of course, acts of kindness.
And finally, we uncovered that bathing effect, creating optimal conditions for release, and that amazing positive feedback loop, the upward spiral that can genuinely boost your social connections and personal resilience over time.
Yeah, so hopefully you now know not just what oxytocin does, but critically, how you can strategically enhance its presence in your own life, moving beyond just passive knowledge to active, empowered optimization of your internal chemistry.
That was a truly fascinating deep dive into our internal bonding system. It really makes you think differently about all those small everyday interactions, doesn't it? Their potential power.
It really does. And, it raises a bigger question for all of us, I think. If our bodies are capable of this kind of incredible self-regulating neurochemical potential with oxytocin, what other hidden systems might we be overlooking? Systems that could unlock even further layers of human capability and well-being.
Exactly. Great question to ponder. And speaking of unlocking potential, you'll join us next time for another deep dive where we'll explore the surprising and often really counterintuitive science behind how your brain actually makes decisions when you're under pressure. You really won't want to miss how understanding this process can give you a critical edge in pretty much every choice you make, from the small everyday ones to the really big monumental ones. Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss out on unlocking more of your internal superpowers.